This is Optimal Finance Daily, Episode 3, Key Question, How Much is Enough? By Babauta of ZenHabits.net.
Get ready to maximize your potential with Optimal Finance Daily, the podcast that brings you the best content in personal finance 5 days a week. Your optimal life awaits. Now here's your host, Dan Warren.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Optimal Finance Daily. This is where I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. Today, I have a post from Babauta of ZenHabits.net entitled Key Question, How Much is Enough? We're going to get to that in just a moment. If you have any topic requests for me, come visit oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com, and let us know what you'd like to hear about. And if you didn't know, this podcast is actually a spin-off of Optimal Living Daily, which focuses a little bit on personal finance, but also on personal development. So if you're totally new to this concept of blog posts being read to you, go check out that show too and subscribe for more content. But for now, let's keep it going with finance and start optimizing your life. Key Question, How Much is Enough? By Babauta of ZenHabits.net. When I published the Simple Living Manifesto last week, I mentioned the concept of enough. It's one of the most important concepts in simplifying your life and in frugality. We often want more than we have now. More money, more gadgets, better furniture, a better house, a better car, more clothes, more shoes, more success. And what happens when we get more? We aren't satisfied because there are new ads for new iPods, for new laptops, for new iPhones, for new cars, for new clothes. We have to have those. It's impossible to satisfy that hunger for more because our culture is not satisfied with what we have, but is geared to wanting more. It's consumerism, and it's the official religion of the industrialized world. That sounds preachy, so let's move beyond that. Ask yourself, how much is enough? How much do you need in order to be satisfied? I submit that the answer is that we already have enough, possibly more than enough. What does enough mean? Enough doesn't mean just the bare necessities of life. That would be food, water, shelter, and clothing. It could be a house with a bed, a table, a chair, a place for food storage and preparation, a toilet, perhaps a shower. That's not really enough. Enough means having enough to live, and enough to be happy, and enough to thrive. For me, as I get extreme happiness from writing and blogging, I would need a computer. Perhaps I could use the public library's computer, but in any case, enough would include some access to a computer. For others, enough would mean the need for tools, such as a notebook and pens, musical instruments, video technology, or a camera. Enough would also mean food beyond just survival food, food that makes us happy, but not so much food that we are being excessive and gorging ourselves. Enough could include cars if those are necessary, but for some people it wouldn't necessarily mean owning a car, especially if they don't have kids and live close enough to the things they need, such as a grocery store or work. Enough could include watching DVDs if that makes you happy. It could mean an iPod if you need that to be happy. How to find enough and apply it to life. Consider the following when thinking about the concept of enough and how it applies to your life. 1. What are the main things that make you happy? Are they material things, or are they people or activities? Knowing the answer to this question can give you some insight into what material things you actually need beyond the bare necessities in order to be happy. 2. What do you need to thrive? You don't want to just survive, you want to thrive. You want to be good at what you do and do what you love. You want to be passionate about the things you do and be successful at them. What do you need in order to do that? How many tools or material things do you need to thrive? 3. What do you need to survive at a comfortable level? You need to survive, of course, but you probably don't want to be miserable as you survive. A comfortable bed is probably important, although I've had great success with a futon, so a comfortable bed doesn't have to be an expensive one. But how many extra trimmings does that bed need in order to be comfortable? How nice do the sheets need to be? Examine your ideas of comfort and then see what's really necessary for that comfort. Sometimes you'll realize that only a minimum of things are needed for real comfort. 4. What do you have beyond those things needed for survival, comfort, happiness, and thriving? Take a look around you and think about everything in your home. How much of it goes beyond these things that make up the concept of enough? Do you really need them, or do they go beyond enough? 5. What do you desire that goes beyond enough, beyond what's needed for survival, comfort, happiness, and thriving? We all want things we don't have. What are they, and are they needed to have enough? Why do you want them? Can you be happy, comfortable, and thriving without them? And if so, how can you give up your desire for those things? 6. If you didn't want to have more than enough, could you work less? Do you really need all the income you bring in, or is much of it to support a lifestyle that includes more than enough? For example, you might have expensive cars when only one cheap used car is enough, or no car at all. Or you might have an expensive home when it's really more than enough, or credit card debt from too many trips, too much shopping, too much eating out. If you didn't spend all that money and didn't always want more than enough, perhaps you wouldn't need as much income. There are almost certainly people living happily and comfortably on a lower income than yours. 7. If you worked less, could you be happy with enough and happier doing other things? If you didn't have to work, you might be happy with just enough, and you might enjoy working less. It's something to think about anyway. Also think about what you would do if you didn't have to work. Credit. I am indebted to Your Money or Your Life and to an article by Vicki Robin, co-author of YMOYL, called How Much is Enough? You just listened to the post titled Key Question, How Much is Enough? By Leo Babauta of ZenHabits.net. And if you were listening to the show yesterday, you heard a post from Mr. Money Mustache, and he shares a lot of ideas that Leo Babauta is talking about in this post today in terms of the value of your time, spending less time working, living with fewer luxuries, and maybe enjoying life a little bit more, getting out of the rat race a little bit. So some really thought-provoking ideas there, and I've incorporated some of those into my own life over the last couple of years for sure. And at the end there, Leo mentions the book Your Money or Your Life, which is actually a book that Justin over at Optimal Living Daily mentions is one of his favorite books of all time. It suggests tracking your income, expenses, and your life, really. There are a lot of interesting experiments in there that will make you think about your money in a different way. It also recommends tracking all your income and expenses, which is something that Justin has been doing for over 8 years, down to the penny, believe it or not. And you can get the same spreadsheet that he uses for free by joining the Optimal Finance Daily newsletter. To join, just text the word financial to 44222. That's the word financial to 44222, or visit oldpodcast.com. And when you do that, you'll also be entered to win a free book every single month, so definitely check that out. And that's going to do it for episode 3 of Optimal Finance Daily. I will see you tomorrow when I'll be reading a post that will tell you how you can go on your dream vacation. So I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from amazing bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com, that's oldpodcast.com, for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.